Konnichiwa, Ami-san. Zsadist here of MagickDream Creations, and I've got with me Wretch of Wretch Plays.
Greetings, programs.
And I also got Rothgar from Lame Ass Podcast.
Man, the channel's called the Overall Nerds.
Overall Nerds, yeah.
You're already messing up, Z.
I know, right?
You can believe it, I don't give a shit.
So we're going to do a Nocturnal Nerds podcast. They've graciously joined me so we can do a review of the new Ghostbusters movie. And yeah, forewarning guys, all three of us didn't really quite like that movie, so sorry.
That's being generous in a sense.
I'll give you, ready? I have a 3-word review for that. I'm 3 words.
Okay.
And I said them to Wretch earlier. Uh-oh. It was painful.
Fair enough. I actually had recorded on TiVo the first Ghostbusters movie, and I'm so glad I didn't watch it before I watched the new one.
Oh Lord, that would have been like putting salt on an open wound.
It would have. It really would have. Wretch,
in a lot of ways.
What did you think about?
Okay.
You seen it?
So
I
actually promised my audience on my YouTube channel that I was going to do a review, like a video game. I was going to be playing a video game, and I could not do it because like halfway through I'd get disgusted with my train of thought and just kind of stop the recording. I tapped out. I went in with no expectations, and after I saw the movie, I was very, very irritated, and it wasn't because it was necessarily a horrendous movie. Now, this is my personal opinion. The reason I'm upset, like, if this movie was just a complete and utter just trash fire, like dumpster fire, I would have been okay with that because it wouldn't have surprised me at all. The thing that bugs me the most about it is I can tell watching and seeing some of the actresses and the actors' work that had they been able to tone down their performances a bit and had a different director, I think they could have had something here.
Yeah,
I really do.
So close to being a good movie.
Yeah, like they had Melissa McCarthy as Abby Yates, Kristen Wiig as Erin Gilbert, Kate McKinnon as Gillian Holtzman, and Leslie Jones as Patty Tolan. And watching them, Toby, check this out, because this was the analogy that I thought in my head. When you watch the first Ghostbusters, and Z, you can chime in here, of course. When you watch the first Ghostbusters, like Venkman and Egon and Ray and all them, you had this idea that despite as eccentric as some of them may have been, all of these could be real people, especially Winston.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all of them. Well, Winston Zeddemore, he was meant to be the everyman, but, I mean, they were all very grounded. I mean, Egon and Ray, they were the most crazy, out-of-the-way characters. But even then, they were just eccentric scientists.
Which fit.
I was like, and, I mean, man, I suck with names. McCarthy and the redhead. Not the engineer chick. What's her name? What's her real name?
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
Okay, and Miss Wiig. They were as close to, like, well, and even Leslie Jones, she was pretty close. The one that really blew it out of the box was McCann.
Holtzman, yeah.
Holtzman. I mean, if she had toned her, because she was at an 11. If she had gone down to about an 8, she would have been perfect. And I mean, the trailers didn't really portray the movie well because you thought Leslie Jones was just going to be the stereotypical loud black lady.
She was the most calm out of all of them.
Yeah,
and
she was.
The few times that I almost chuckled or at least had a grin was when she was on the screen.
Yep.
Jenny McCarthy, former playmate. McCarthy, she's a very funny woman, and I've seen quite a few of her movies. There was one with Jason Bateman, Identity Theft. I think it's what it's called. And she was hilarious in that movie, and more than Jason Bateman. And I love Jason Bateman. I was like, she was just, I mean, gut-hurting laughs. That she was hilarious. And Kristen Wiig, in the few movies I've seen with her in them, she's funny as well. I've never seen McCann before, I might have, and I just don't know it.
I kept on being distracted when I saw Kate McKinnon, because all I thought to myself, if I was sitting here watching a live-action movie of Batman the Animated Series, I'm looking at Harley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
she was just so fucking out there.
Well, here's the analogy I wanted to make. Every single character in this movie was Louis Tully.
Oh.
They were dialed up to Rick Moranis' character in the first movie. The only one who occasionally you had to suspend your disbelief, but you let him get away with it because it's Rick Moranis, who is perfect at playing those characters. Every single character had that volume turned up. Mm-hmm. And I know all these people were saying, "Oh, Chris Hemsworth is hilarious as Kevin. He's hilarious as Kevin." I was just like, "No, he wasn't." That was like every slapstick stupidity joke. Like I think Chris Hemsworth had really good comedic timing, but when I was watching that, I was like, I just wish the comedy was funny.
Yeah.
It's like even the mayor and the mayor's like second in command. Mm-hmm. They were like these out there non-realistic characters. While if you watch the original, like both Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the mayor came off like a legit guy.
Yeah.
And that's what made it funnier, because the Ghostbusters, especially Ray and Egon, like Rothgar said, were out there, so they said stuff that kind of confused people, and Venkman and Winston had to kind of reel them in. But if everyone's turned up to that level, then everyone's crazy, then they lose what makes them special.
Yeah.
Right.
You're gonna lose the audience with all the geek talk and all that. And if you're not gonna have somebody that's gonna be like, all right, tone it down a bit, speak English.
Well, it makes it. Well, Paul. Oh, what is his name? Paul Feig. I think his name is. He was the director. He directed Bridesmaids, and I remember I've watched a little bit of Bridesmaids, and it's the exact same directing style, the exact same style of performances. This was a horrible, horrible choice to make this movie.
Yeah.
Because he seems to be a person who only seems to be able to direct one type of film.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They need someone with a softer hand, because the script was fine. I do have one problem with something happened in the movie. I do have a problem with it, but I'll get to that in a second. The script was fine. I mean, we had our everyman. It was an every woman, and that was Leslie Jones, or Patty is her name in the movie.
Yeah.
And she was our every woman, and every time that Holtzberger and McKinn, is that how you say her name? I'm sorry.
Yeah, McKinnon.
McKinnon.
Yeah.
And whenever McKinnon's character went off and she started, techno babbling, Patty was there to just like, hey, calm it down. Tell us what this really means. And
say it in
that
English.
Worked. And the same thing worked. I mean, Zeddemore did the same thing in the first movie and in the second movie. He was okay, what does that mean to real people?
Yeah.
It worked, but it didn't at the same time. I was like, they needed a director with a softer hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could tell those women really wanted to do something special. Because you can tell they loved the movies, and I mean, the fact that they got the cameos that they did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at some point when, like Murray or Dan Aykroyd or Sigourney Weaver or what is his name? Winston. When they read those scripts, and Annie Potts, when they read those scripts, they were like, okay, this is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not the same, but it's more tailored for a modern audience, and that's cool. And so at some point, that script was good, or at least funny enough for those guys to go, yeah, no, we'll show back up.
Yeah.
Cameo. And relegating Sigourney Weaver's cameo to the post-credit stuff, oh, man. Come on. She didn't deserve something in the movie?
Yeah, I was very highly upset about that.
Because the credits started rolling, and I'm like, where's Sigourney Weaver? We see everyone else. I mean, Rick Moranis wasn't in it, obviously. And, well, Harold Ramis couldn't be in it because he passed away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, where's Sigourney Weaver? And then I started watching the credits, and I was like, oh, there's something going on.
Yeah, I had actually almost got up during the credits, and then whenever, because I was like, okay, this is needless dancing, fair enough, and then they started doing the, here's some little more tidbits. I was like, oh, okay, no, never mind.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea she was going to make an appearance.
The only one I knew that was in the movie was Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. Those are the only ones I knew were in it.
Right.
I really did and I know, I'm sorry I had to had an emergency there for a sec. But I really liked Egon's little cameo in it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice touch.
It was. I like that one. I can honestly, like, and a lot of people are, expecting this to be something that, the younger women and girls can look up to this movie just as boys did for the original Ghostbusters. Me, as a female, I can't see that.
See, and I think that's a false assumption, because I didn't look up to the Ghostbusters. Because they were losers.
Touche.
I mean,
they were.
The movie starts with Peter Venkman, Bill Murray. He was conning these two, students who got paid $5 so he could sleep with the blonde. And it took me years to realize that the dude in that particular scene was getting them right.
Yeah.
It took me years to realize he wasn't getting his right, he was getting the girls right. He was just guessing a card ahead. Or not guessing, he was psychically intuiting, or whatever you want to call it. He was getting them right. And Ray, loser. Egon,
They had to take out two mortgages to get that firehouse.
Right,
yeah.
Which apparently costs $21,000 a month. Jesus, if that's real,
God.
man, rent in New York is fucked.
Right.
It's like the slow-mo fight scene is when I checked out.
That's actually the part of the movie that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I sat there,
the
it's like
entire setup was, we want to capture the ghosts, we want to be scientists, we want to, prove. And they formed a hypothesis. They made an observation. They formed a hypothesis. They performed an experiment, and they were trying to do that. Trying to control. They were following scientific process. At some point, they said, "Fuck science, and let's just kill them with a wood chipper and grenades."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, why the hell are they doing this? Shouldn't they figure out? Yes. Now they didn't really kill a lot of them. They were just kind of lassoing them around, and that was kind of neat. But when did they stop being scientists and started being kick-ass chicks?
I just sat there.
They were fighting like some next level kung fu shit going on there. It
Well,
wasn't.
they're swinging by the plasma beams, and all I could think about, like in the back of my head, was Shia LaBeouf swinging from the vines in Indy 4. It was like one of those done, just done. I was okay with that. And I checked out when that happened, and then I was officially like the fatality when they shot the ghost in the crotch.
That killed it right there. Already.
That was like
nope.
the final punctuation of this is
not good.
of how the movie was handled and the vibe they were going for, and it was just ugh.
Yeah. Then there was also a moment where Rothgar could identify with feminist, believe it or not, in the opposite direction.
Go on.
Fair enough.
When the bad guy possesses Chris Hemsworth, he becomes just, oh, I should have worked out more. Oh, look, we didn't call Clark Kent. Oh, you mean the handsomeness? And it's like, really? Really? Because you fuckers yell at us for objectifying women all the time.
Yeah, and then they
okay,
did that.
we do it the other way. Now, I don't want to sound, like they're people can read into what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I can sympathize now,
right,
with that particular standpoint.
Yeah,
because
this movie did nothing but make me identify with stupid people. it really did. Stupid, lazy people, and yes. that's the God's honest truth about it. I was like, if you're going to reboot something, don't reboot something that's somewhat sacred to a particular generation of people. And I know, but it is, and people kind of roll their eyes at that. Ghostbusters was one of those gems up there with the Goonies, and all of these other movies that are kind of iconic. If you're going to reboot something Reboot something that's been forgotten. Reboot
Yes.
something that people actually want to see because they think it can be done better. Ghostbusters didn't need to be improved on. It was good the way
had
it
its
was.
own- yeah.
I didn't think that there would be a movie that would come out to make me appreciate Ghostbusters 2 more.
Exactly.
But it did. And that's exactly what it did. Now, the question I want to throw to you guys is like we already know what's wrong with it. It had all the tools to be an actual decent movie, but it was ruined by Hollywood politics and agendas and all this kind of garbage. How would you have made it better? Like, how would you have tried to fix it?
Zsadist, go ahead.
Just summed up as
God.
best you can.
Okay, artifacts were just fine, at least in my standpoint. I'm used to, very pretty, very well done on the graphics. That's, my opinion as an artist. Character-wise, I'm with everyone on that one. Is tone them down a bit. Don't overdo it. Don't, give that extra oomph where it's not needed. Establish the characters and then let them go on with the story. For halfway through, it felt like I checked out because I lost interest. It wasn't captivating enough. But that's about, better, I guess, character rounding. I don't know. That's about all I could fix on that one for me, at least.
Right.
Now, Rothgar, what about you?
Okay, so there's a few things. First of all, I was perfectly fine and happy with the all-female cast. I thought that was kind of a cool twist, and that was awesome. You know what I didn't fucking need? I didn't need the story time where Kristen Wiig was whiny about how she was made fun of in high school. Ghostbusters never did that.
Mm-hmm.
The character building comes from when they make the team. They were already friends. They were already happy with each other. All three of the original, and said more later, were happy with each other. They knew each other. They had to bring in that, she was the sad girl in high school, and they were the losers. We get it. They're losers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've already established it. We don't need to establish it further.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was no... Once Patty showed up, everybody's cool. Whatever. We're all happy friends now.
Yeah.
There was no... The scene in the concert would be the only... it's their hotel equivalent, even though it's technically their second job.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's their hotel equivalent where they start bonding together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I was upset within that movie was I thought the evolution showing us, building the different proton packs and making them better, I thought that was kind of neat because that's what engineers do.
Yeah.
She wasn't a scientist, she was an engineer, and if you know engineers, and both of y'all do, they're not scientists, and they'll fucking tell you that all the time.
They're tinkerers.
We're tinkers.
So they did a really good job of making her an engineer.
Yes.
I didn't need the exposition scenes of the grenades.
Oh, no.
The fucking gauntlet, which was used. And those were exposition for one-time use.
Yep.
We didn't need it. If they were going to be integral to the plot, an exposition is needed. But if they're just one time, all she had to do was so I was tinkering last night where y'all were eating Chinese food, and we got some new toys to play with tonight.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they needed. And I didn't need the shitty villain.
Fair enough.
Because I neither hated him, which you should either
hate
not
the
like
villain.
the villain, or you should identify with why he's being a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And
Neither one of those.
that right there, when you
fucked what that guy did.
When you mentioned Abby and Aaron complaining about how they were made fun of in high school, I think that was one of the things that was something that they actually kind of missed in regards to Rowan, who was the villain, was because I think what they were trying to go for, and I think they just missed it completely, they were pushing the fact that the reason that Kristen didn't turn into Rowan, because Rowan had read Kristen and Aaron and Abby's book and learned how to do everything because of them. It was one of those things that Abby and Aaron had each other and that they were friends and they were able to beat the isolation that Rowan went through that turned him all into this antisocial wannabe kind of world destroyer. Mm-hmm. And I think that was kind of the theme that they were going through, that they just completely missed the boat. And that was the thing that I think that's the primary scene. Like these people have missed the boat, kind of like the Titanic ghost in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
It's like there was so much there. Like you're seeing all the pieces and they're starting to gel together, but just something is wrong. Like Holtzman, for example, I was just like, if they had just put her down, and I agree, to about an 8 or so, she would have been hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Like the only line that I had even a remote chuckle at was when they put the proton pack, I believe, on Erin for the first time, and she's like, Why do I have the prototype nuclear thing on my back? And then Holtzman just says very quietly, "You have the longest arms."
Yeah.
It's just that little stuff. It's like, but Ghostbusters, a lot of Ghostbusters is just conversational humor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's not a whole lot of that in this movie. It's all let's have these huge over the top characters that is like the only character that even seemed somewhat normal to me was Charles Dance playing the head of the college.
Yep.
Yes.
He was the only person who was just normal, and he was just like, yeah, you need to go now. Mm-hmm. Everyone else, though, were stereotypes in a lot of ways, like typical stereotypes that you have seen in every single movie.
Yeah. And that's the thing that scene where she was like, "You have the longest arms," was the funniest line she said the whole movie. Well, maybe when she put the collar on it, she's like, "Do you know your iron level? Don't worry about it." When she was like subtle about her humor, she was good. But it was, when she licked her fucking whip gun thing, I was like, what the fuck? Why? You don't need to do that because, it's kind of shaped like a penis? Is that why we licked it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I found interesting, and I was reading about it recently, a lot of people saw the movie and were like, I understand what you were trying to do with Kevin, but you went way too far with it. Like way too far. And people are like, well, the Ghostbusters had a, secretary, and I was like, have you seen the movie? Like Annie Potts.
You cut out on that.
Sorry.
Annie Potts was amazing.
Yeah, Annie Potts in the original Ghostbusters was strong, smart, didn't take crap out of it from anyone, and was a part of the team.
Right. I mean, the line she says to Venkman, she's like, "I've quit better jobs than this." That's not stupid.
Yeah.
That's a woman who just don't take his shit. She is the typical New Yorker. I've quit better jobs than this.
And that's actually interesting.
What you want?
Did you see any New Yorkers in this film?
Not really, no.
Like no one that you could tell, this is from New York.
They
kind
didn't
of thing.
have the accent or anything, or there was no hints about New York, nothing.
Well, the only one was Annie Potts.
Yeah, that was it.
that accent's kind of hard to hide. Let's be fair.
That could have been set in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
New York wasn't a character in the show like it was in the first movie and in the second one.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you don't step on a church in my town."
Yeah.
And then you had the fan service with Stay Puft and Slimer.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of sitting there. I'm like, okay, Slimer's there. Mm-hmm. He stole the car.
Slimer didn't bother me. I was actually with Slimer.
I was like, Slimer stole the car. Okay, good. And then he has a female Slimer.
Got a lady Slimer.
Yeah.
Lady Slimer.
Which
that whole thing
cartoon, right? Like she wasn't. I know she wasn't in any of the movies. I think
there was a female Slimer in the cartoon. Yeah. Actually,
I don't remember watching the cartoon.
Fair enough.
That did.
It was actually pretty good.
I'm sure it was, but I don't remember watching. I might.
But I'm kind of sitting there like the Ozzy Osbourne cameo. I was just like, well, he got a paycheck. That's nice.
Good on you.
And they were like, oh, it's fucking Metal Fest with Ozzy, and then they had some fucking I don't even know what.
I don't know who that was.
Band. That's a real band. They did a really good job of making this look shitty.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, guys, we kind of should have seen it coming because I think I've learned from experience, and I think both of you can agree with like the Fantastic Four film that recently came out, that the more defensive that a director is of his project over the slightest bit of controversy, that is,
or it's gonna suck.
Yeah, that's a pretty good indication that he knows that something is horrible and he's just trying to run damage control.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because, and the thing about it is the guy Paul did a horrible job at damage control, and then you had the two camps forming, you know, and it was horrible. It did no favors for the movie. They're probably not going to do another one, thank God, because did you watch the scene at the end of the credits, Toby?
Oh, where the guys, what? It's Zool.
Yeah, I'm like, no, don't you dare touch Zool.
Don't touch Zool.
That's a step too far.
Yeah,
it's like you wanted this to be a reboot with brand new characters and introducing the story to a new generation.
You do not bring back the old.
You do new stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I already was. Well, Vamus made the comment. He was like, "No one's going to be harsher on this movie than you, Rothgar, just because of what Ghostbusters means to me." It was beside that and Empire Strike or Return of the Jedi are the two movies I can remember seeing as a kid. And one of the few times, like when my father wasn't overseas, and I remember seeing Ghostbusters with him. So it's got a special place because of that. And also, one of my mom's favorite stories is apparently I impressed a whole bunch of college girls in front of me. Because this is 1985 or 1983 is when 83 when Ghostbusters came out. And you know, whenever they were like, "Who are you gonna call?" and I'd stand up and like, "Ghostbusters!" You know, I'm fucking 4 years old. And, you know, the girls in front of me thought it was cute because I'm a 4-year-old yelling Ghostbusters because it was awesome. And this movie, no one's going to remember it in 5 years.
No.
It's going to be in the bargain bin at 7-Eleven.
I don't think that. I don't think that at all. And the only reason that I don't think that is because I was recently at a con and I saw a lot of people, especially girls, dressed as Ghostbusters. Oh. And my only thing was this, and people are just like, "Oh, it killed my childhood. It killed my childhood." I'm like, "Shut up. Your childhood's fine. It's on VHS and DVD for you to enjoy anytime you want." The only really positive thing I can get out of this is that people will watch this one and be like, "Okay, I should watch the original and see how that is." The
originals, yeah.
And no, it didn't kill my childhood. You can't take that. You can't take Ghostbusters.
Can't take that away.
You can't take the sky from me.
No,
exactly.
You can't. I was like, it was just painful to watch because there's a 4-year-old out there, and this was the movie he's gonna remember or she's gonna remember, and I hope they have really good memories of it. I really do. I wish them only the best in their lives. But that's a really shitty movie to remember.
Yeah.
I think the biggest frustration for me, besides the fact that it had the potential to be a good movie, and I've gone off on this about comic books and all kinds of stuff. I am tired of these companies being too afraid and too cowardly to try something new and create a new franchise. Yeah. They have to grab other established properties because it's safe to do so. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that franchise has established fan bases or is nostalgic or a cult favorite in some way. If they can take that and it's like, we have this idea that we want to put these 4 women together and do that and fight ghosts. You know what? You can make a movie like that and not call it Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Right. Because it immediately sets an expectation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that was the thing.
That's what lets people down.
You had Bill Murray-sized boots to fill.
And those are pretty big.
And good luck with that. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with any kind of Star Wars property or anything like that. If you're going to make it and put that name on the logo, you damn well better be able to produce a product at least on par with the original.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, you shouldn't bother at all. You should either create a brand new franchise and take a gamble and advertise it, because that's the thing. If you start a new franchise, what a lot of people won't do is advertise it with the same amount of fire as you would an established franchise.
Yes.
And if they won't do that, well, they've doomed themselves to failure, and they're like, well, original projects don't work. I guess we're going to have to start rebooting franchises, and hence the reason we got horrible remakes of Point Break and Red Dawn and all of these movies from the 80s and early 90s that are being introduced in horrible ways. You know, in nice CGI wrapped presents, but there's nothing good inside the box once you pull the bow.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
don't sugarcoat this shit. It's still shit.
There was a reboot that I was actually thoroughly enjoyed, and that was the Conan reboot.
That one was actually good.
Jason Momoa, that man really just can't do much wrong. I like him as an actor.
But you could tell the people in that movie had passion for the project and what they were doing.
And they went more back to the books. They weren't rebooting the movie. They were rebooting the franchise from the books.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job, because if you ever read a Conan the Barbarian novel, it's Conan is fucking shit up. A necromancer steals the girl he's currently banging. He goes kill necromancer. He bangs girl. That's every Conan book.
Yep.
All of them.
Thank you, Crom.
That's all of them. So when I watched that Conan the Barbarian with Jason Momoa, that's exactly what it was. He was fucking shit up. Somebody stole his tail. He killed the necromancer. Got his tail.
I think those people, and they wanted to show Conan without Arnold.
Yes.
And that was the thing, and that's the problem with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even when he puts in a good performance, he kind of overshadows the films that he's in, just because of how much of a character a personality and everything that he is. There's like we need to create a Conan that when people think about him, they don't instantly just think of it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. They wanted to think of the barbarian from the books.
Right.
Yes.
And that's that kind of thing. Like with the Ghostbusters, man, I was like. And the interesting thing that I've noticed is I really think that the studios were really pushing the all-female cast at the expense of everything else, because like a game based on this movie came out on Steam recently. The cast, the Ghostbusters, are half and half. They're half male and half female,
which is awesome.
And you're just kind of sitting there like, why is this different than the movie? That makes no sense to me. Why is that like that? And then I look at the animation style, and I thought to myself, you know what? I think that would have, just in terms of the storyteller in me, I think a half and half cast would have had a lot more kind of storytelling opportunities. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the female cast at all. Like I said, if they just had it, I think if they just toned it down, would have been awesome. It would have been
awesome, yeah.
And I could have looked back at the crappy villain and all this kind of stuff, and just, well, you know what? They're just awesome personalities. You can't. I'm happy if the movie's batting 500, but it didn't. So it's a shame.
It is.
It barely batted like 90.
Yeah. But you are gonna have those people that are all gun ho for this new one, and everyone has their own opinions.
Well, they're already planning on a sequel. Sony wants this Ghostbusters franchise to be like one of its primary cash cows, and it didn't make anything.
No, it didn't. Ouch.
It debuted in second.
What was first?
Some kids movie, I think, like
Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, yeah.
It had been out for 2 weeks.
Ouch.
Had been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's an ouch on that one.
Yeah.
Oh. So overall, I kind of recommend for people to go watch the original. Like, watch the new one, then go watch the original if you haven't seen the original, because it's.
I think if they watch I think everyone needs to. Because I told Rothgar, I was like, you need to go watch it, and he's like, is it good? I'm like, oh, not remotely.
No.
But you need to watch
opinion.
it. I think that everyone needs to watch it, because this doesn't need to happen again.
No.
Okay? Like, and they're rebooting more stuff, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but they're rebooting The Rocketeer. The news came in today. that they're rebooting the movie The Rocketeer.
It's Power Rangers too. Ugh.
It's set 5 years after the original movie, and the main character is going to be a female black teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I mean, I'll hold judgment. I need to see something on it before I.
The same thing. I'm saying it's like, okay, it's kind of like what they're doing with Iron Man right now. That's kind of cool. It's as long as they have passion for the project and there's a story to be told. That's the thing. A lot of people like, hey, let's reboot Ghostbusters. Oh, that's a great idea. We'll make so much money. Okay, what's the story? I prefer to have I have this awesome story that we can reboot Ghostbusters with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then focus on the story, and then everything else comes natural.
Because that's the part of a movie, and that's what people don't remember, is it's a moving picture. It's a telling story that you watch, and you're being told the story. But if there's no story, there's just people on a screen.
Mm-hmm. As the same thing with like the techno babble. I agree with you, Rothgar, because I was like, I can barely deal with that from Geordie LaForge, much less you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, and just let's keep on going.
There you go.
Bounce the tachyon off the main deflector dish.
Yeah.
Yep. So overall, what do you guys say?
Wait for DVD.
Wait for DVD.
Yeah. Wait for DVD.
Red box it.
Red box
Yeah.
it.
Fucker.
Red box it.
Red box it. People need to watch it, but they don't need to spend movie theater prices to go see it. And it's because it's a lesson.
It's
not worth $10 or whatever your local theater costs. No. It's not worth $10-15. It's really not. It's worth the $1.50 a night.
Yes. From
Redbox.
Yeah.
Or $2.50 Blu-ray. I was like, it's not worth it. If you want to watch Ghostbusters, Google Play currently has Ghostbusters from 1983 on for rent, high definition, for $1.99.
There you go.
Mother Bus Bucket.
Yeah, Mother Bus Bucket. There you go. Go watch that one, and then spend an extra $3 and watch Ghostbusters 2 and realize that Ghostbusters 2, which a lot of people consider the shittiest Ghostbusters movie, that is
no longer.
No. Some people were saying that's even worse than the third one. Is far and away better than Ghostbusters 2016.
Yep.
And worst comes to worst, play the game on Xbox 360, which was considered by Harold Ramis and a lot of the original cast to be the true third movie.
Yes.
It's on Steam.
Yeah, it is on Steam. I highly recommend it because the entire cast voices it, and it's an actual full story by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
It's just before Ramis died too, so it's one of the last things he did anything in. It's brilliant. It's a funny story, and the cartoon too, because apparently I need to rewatch it.
Yep. There is a female Slimer.
There's a Call of Cthulhu episode in it too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Are we done with Ghostbusters? Are we going to talk about anything else? What else are we doing?
Was there anything else y'all wanted to talk about?
I don't know. I always got shit to talk about. I mean, I do a podcast every week. Why not? I always got shit to talk about.
I mean, we got Ghostbusters, but yeah.
Okay, so I gotta tell you a WoW story real quick.
Oh Lord.
Ooh, let's end this with a WoW story. I'm all right with this.
Okay, so everyone, y'all know I still play WoW quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a priest on WoW.
Uh-oh.
His name is God, Gawd. That character's been around a very long time. He has now been reported for the third time, and they're gonna make me rename him.
Oh.
This time is because I made a guild and kicked everyone out, and the guild was called Hates You. So it was God Hates You. That was the name of the guild. That was the first report. Another guy reported because the character's name is God. Then, and I haven't played him in a very long time, and I was like, I think I'm going to boost him up to 100 because Shadow Priest looks fun in the 7.0. So I've been playing him, and I haven't played him since you could share titles.
Uh-oh.
Well, so I was playing around with titles, and I was like, wait a second. I have Elder, because that's the one I wear on Stragos all the time. So his name is Elder God.
Batong!
And I'm Shadow Priest using Insanity and all that jazz, and I've made custom emotes for like half of his not combat rotational spells.
Right.
Like my troll is obey the word of God.
But now that you got reported again?
I got reported for a third time because of name.
Aww.
They were like, we're going to ask you to rename it. So I'm looking for another way to spell God.
Well, Godspeed, sir.
I took that spelling. That's how they spell God in Hackmaster, role-playing game. So that's why I use that spelling. Because it's dog. Like, yo, dog. Just backwards.
Wow.
And it was the joke in the Knights at the Dinner Table. And yes, I'm gonna have to rename God, and I'm not very happy about that.
Sad panda.
There I was.
Shame.
In all transmogrified up. He's got a halo on. He's got the old school.
As he would.
Yep.
He's got the old school priest wings on. The old armor set that had wings on it.
Yeah.
For priest. He's got those on it because he's always in shadow form. They're dark, and I carry a tentacly staff. I mean, I had him to the nines, and I was standing in Ogremore just playing with my add-ons, getting them back up to date and everything. And I got a message from a GM.
Aw.
Yeah,
God, this is the GM speaking.
Oh, it's the other gods.
Whoops.
Yeah, so...
Well, Z, thank you very much for having us on.
Yes,
Yeah, Z.
thank you guys for coming on and, chit-chatting with all of this and ending on a good note with a funny WoW story.
To get the taste out of our mouth.
Yeah. Gotta do that. So, you guys...
Go watch The Killing Joke. That'll fucking cleanse you like there's... It is the aperitif after a bad meal.
Yosh. But I will link their channels, you guys. All my viewers, go check them out, please. Give them loves. And definitely gonna have more coming up on Nocturnal Nerds. So until then, ja matane.